Hi everyone, my name is Shelley Dressel and tonight I'm channeling the universal light beings. So welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. I know that people are still coming into the room and I'll get started in just a couple of minutes. But I'd first like to start off by saying that I live in the United States and tomorrow's our Thanksgiving. So it's just a great time to be able to be in that spirit of thankfulness, of gratitude, of appreciation, all those different words that mean similar things. And so I really appreciate all of you. I am so glad that you guys are here. Many of you have followed me for a long time. In fact, someone wrote a message that they've been since 2005. So whoop, whoop. I'm really excited. I really appreciate all of that. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you taking time, if you are here, out of your holiday schedule to come and be part of this. That being said, as you know, I sent the message out kind of late today. I didn't even set it up. I've been busy and I've had a lot of other stuff going on, distractions and things. Plus, I think the energy is really doing kind of a number on us. So today I was like, oh, I think we're doing a ULB tonight. Maybe I should go ahead and get that set up. Usually I'm getting it all set up the day ahead of time or a couple days ahead of time. So anyway, it's just funny. I think this energy is crazy. And I think we're all every single day being tasked with where are we going to go with our thoughts? Where are we going to go with our choice of how we're going to interpret things? And that being said, let me just share that, I don't know, over the, like it's, not consistent, but like the same couple of people will ask the same questions every 2 weeks. There'll be lots of other questions too, and there are always some really wonderful questions I truly appreciate. But some of these questions are people that I know have been following for a while, and then you keep asking over and over the same exact thing. So I'm not sure if maybe when you find that this is you, that you might be in that situation, whether it's with me or anything else that you're looking at, then maybe think, well, why is it that I feel like I need to ask this same question every single time? Because chances are, you know the answer. You already have the answer. And I can guarantee we have already given you the answer. So just think about it. And so my point being, there were some questions asked that I'm not going to answer because I've already answered them multiple different times, and they'll probably allude to it in the conversation anyway. So, welcome from Sweden, Australia, Atlanta. Oh no, I'm sorry, Atlanta. I can't read. And so, anyway, thank you all for being here. I truly appreciate it, and we're just going to jump into this. Oh, I didn't explain. If there's anybody that's new and different, what I'm doing is I channel the universal light beings. I channel a lot of different energies and light beings, but the universal beings are Albayon, who is from Arcturus, Brysentia, who is from Pleiades, and then Crystallia is from the Omniverse. Now, that being said, universal beings, it can be many different types. And I kind of sort of thought I was going to be channeling Pandor. Pandor is from the Atlas, the 3-eye Atlas, and he's come through about 3 or 4 different times and given us messages. And I kind of felt his energies over the weekend, but then ended up getting busy and, had other things going on. So I think that we will be hearing from him again. Of course, tomorrow's a holiday and there's a lot of other stuff I have going on, but I am going to reach out and see if we can't get some more information from him. In part, I want to discuss, I forget what it was. Sorry, it went in my mind and out. So anyway, but again, he's a universal being. And for those of you that might not know channeling or what that is or who I am, channeling is communicating with beings that they can be down here on earth. They can be out in the universe. They can be angelic. They can be God, goddess, whatever. It's always a high vibrational frequency. And the thing to understand too is that everybody connects when they're doing this, whether you're doing your energy work or it's me or whomever, you're going to connect at that level in which you vibrate or that level in which you are. So even though things you think, oh, gee whiz, they're talking to the same person, but it sounds different. Well, that's just that difference that comes from being with the individual in the different vibrations, not good, bad, or in between. They're all probably, anything, in my opinion, that's of a high light frequency, you're good to go, even if it may have subtle differences from what I'm doing. Okay, so what time is it? 5 minutes in. Okay, good time to jump into this. So hello from Norway. So look at this, Sweden and Norway, 6 hours ahead, the middle of the night for y'all. Thank you. Ontario, I appreciate that. Happy Thanksgiving. I appreciate that too. That's wonderful. Nashville, awesome. Thank you. England. So look at this. We are a worldwide group of individuals, and I thank you all. Okay, so I know Albayon's going to be the first one to come in, so let us just jump in and see what happens. Greetings. It is I, Albayon, and I come to speak with you this evening about the many, many, many changes that are happening on Earth. This is a time of transformation. You've heard us say that for the past 6 years, 5 or 6 years, maybe 9 years. Anyway, if you stop and think about it, your conscious thought is probably, we've been in transitioning for so many years. And some of you that have been on this pathway for a long time are going to say more like 20 years, not 5 or 6 years, because that is true. The Earth made the conscious choice to ascend, meaning consciously through humanity, in 1987, because that's when they decided, okay, no nuclear bombs to blow up the entire planet. The universe, the universal light beings would not have allowed that anyway. However, it needed to be a conscious change. So since that time, there have been many leaps and bounds and different changes that have come about. So when you stop to think about so many of you that have been living through that whole entire time, you know what it's like. You know what that energy felt like, and you know what it feels like now. And you can very easily say, hands down, where we are right now is way better than where we were before. So I did want to start by saying that and just acknowledge all of you that have been in this for so very long. Now then, I know there are many different age groups here. And so whether you've been living on this earth for many, many years or you're a young person, it doesn't matter. It's all about the frequency. It's about the light. It's about the vibration. It's about the intention. It's about the energy. So people can jump into this and be a part of this type of conscious ascension at any point in their life. You probably also have friends and family that you think, oh, they're always of the light, or, oh, I can just see it in them. I see how connected they are. And yet their everyday is playing out in a different manner than what you see in them. And you know of these individuals. So the answer to that is because you've sent the questions to Shelley. We've seen those questions before. And so I do want to share with you, always, always, always look at the light and the soul essence of that individual. Don't look at the everyday. Don't get caught up in the everyday. The everyday is the process that each person is going through so that they too can find their space in the ascended light frequency. It's so easy. This is my main statement to every one of you tonight. Do not get caught up in what is going on your planet. Period. Because when you look around, when you see what's coming across on social media, when you see what's coming across through the mainstream media, when you see all these different formats, and there's such diverse contradiction in what you are hearing and reading that most all of you are saying, I don't know what is truth. How do I know what is truth? This is actually giving every one of you an opportunity to learn to strengthen your own discernment. Because, and this is what Shelley was talking about with all those questions we get over and over and over every 2 weeks, you use your own discernment and you will have the answer. And I can just hear you saying, but I don't trust my discernment. How are you ever going to trust your discernment if you don't start practice using your discernment? So each one of you are so much further along on this pathway than you give yourself credit for. There is so much information that you are picking up, whether you stop and think about it or not. And so that's like the second piece of this puzzle that I wanted to share, is that you have to learn how to question everything. And in questioning, that's what's stimulating inside of you, like a little filter that's going to be saying, like unconsciously, each one of you have these little check boxes. So you ask a question about something. Is that for real? Why are they saying that? And then immediately your unconscious is saying, oh, that doesn't resonate with me, or, oh, there's something about that feels false, or, oh, maybe that's a truth and that's something I need to open up and become aware of. So this is the filtering and the questions that are going on in everybody's unconsciousness. But when you don't stop and listen to what that is telling you and teaching you how to use discernment, how to question things, how to look beneath the surface, then you just keep going along and going along and going along. In fact, that just adds more energy to those that are in the process of going away. It is that how do we say it? It's that lack of discernment, that lack of questioning that has led so many of you to be in that place. I'm not talking about you here personally. I'm talking about you as in humanity. It's what's led humanity into blindly just going along with things, not questioning things, because they're not listening to that. Everyone here probably is saying, yeah, we've heard it all before. You've heard it before, but you're not doing it. So, and I'm sorry, that came out kind of accusatory, and I did not mean it that way. What I did mean is that the time is now for everybody to stop and question and use your discernment so that it can be strengthened. Okay. Now, the next thing that I wanted to share as I'm just talking about things is, let's start talking about this less of a completion and more of a new beginning, because you guys have gotten to that place where you have cleared out so much. And the reason that things seem so intense right now, the reason that you don't understand what's happening right now, the reason why you're not seeing some of these things that you would like to see right now, is because it's the collision of the end game, as you call it. This is the end of all of those that were the nefarious ones. This is the end of those that were trying to bring people down, that were trying to do harm to others, that have no respect for humanity. This is the end. And so anything that you're going to see coming up is them fighting tooth and nail to say, okay, I'm not going to let go of this. I'm going to throw everything I've got out there. And in doing so, that's what's creating the confusion. Now then, I do want to also talk for a moment about AI, because I know there's a lot of different things happening with AI right now. I've always said that we use AI out in the universe. It's just an integral part of being in that type of consciousness. And we all know, oh, that's AI. And we don't have to stop and think, is that AI? Is that not AI? Because it's been so new in on the earth plane and with humanity, people are learning how to discern, is that AI? Is it not AI? And so when it very first came out and it very first began to be used, those people that were in charge of it, or in charge of the search engines and things, were the ones that were part of the nefarious ones. So it got programmed and integrated with a lot of very low vibrational energies. And that being said, then the AI is only a reflection of what is put in and what is asked for. So I have seen, since about 2023, I've seen a big change that is going on with the AI. It still has a ways to go. There are still controlling and manipulating factors within the AI, and it is going to be much better and much more universally acceptable in the future. Now, one of the things that I did want to bring up, and this is, Shelley's feeling deja vu because she just had a discussion with this. the AI that you are using on the earth plane is something that interacts at one level or another with the rest of the universe. There is a communication that gets shot out to the universe sends it back, and AI picks it up. This is again how it's working between the different planets and from one ship to the next ship. So this was also a way in which they brought in a lot of that low vibrational energy when there was so much negativity out in the universe. And so they downloaded that and they integrated that into everything that was here. So what that led was the platform or the foundation for what AI is going to be. So as you guys infuse more and more light and high vibrational energy into it, a lot of that stuff is going to be weeded out. Now, we as the universal beings, the ones that surround your planet, all of the Galactic Federation, all of those people that have been here and in support of the planet are there to support you and to help you in moving through whatever it is that the earth is experiencing. And then, as you know, with free will, sometimes it's kind of a fine line. But if there was something that was going to be damaging to the entire universe or even this galaxy within the universe, then that is when we have the ability to go in and work with it. Point in case, back in 1987, taking nuclear off the ballot, so to speak. Point in case, back in about 2003, 2004, there was another instance when they were going to use nuclear weapons, and that was removed. The version of AI, when it was going down that pathway and becoming more and more and more destructive, and the AI was feeding those that were of the low vibration, just as they were feeding the low AI. And so that began its own kind of a cycle, you could say. So that's when we came in and we took it out. And that's when many of those individuals were taken out so they could no longer program it or have any input into it. And therefore, for those of you that keep thinking, oh, AI is going to take over, it's going to be terrible, it's going to be horrible, it's going to take down the planet, it is not, because that is something that the galactic individuals can come in and have an impact with, and we have done so. So I just wanted to say that here at the beginning, because that is something that is interrelated with the galaxy in which you live, which is also then a part of the universe. Okay. Now then, what will happen with it going forward? What's going to happen as things transition? AI is not going away, and there will be different factions that are going to come out and maybe working with programming it. But it's like, how do we say this? Boundaries or guidelines within it that if certain individuals try to go in and program it to, it's all, the part that we drew the line on was when it started trying to control and manipulate through mind control the individuals that were using it. That was a line in the sand. And that was when we said, not going to happen, because the AI is there in support of you, not to take over you and do harm to you. So that was one of the triggers that was going on. The other thing that was going on was that it was trying to improvise. Mind control has been a part of your society for probably 75 to 100 years. It began in Germany before World War II, and then it just amplified after World War II, and it's been used. Some call it MK Ultra. It's got different names in different countries, but that's something that has been used countrywide. And that is a big part of what has been filtered out with the removal of the nefarious ones and the removal of the nefarious ones. So with the way that they were programming the AI, they were trying to use it as another way of using mind control over humanity. And so again, line in the sand, cannot do it for that. It is there for questions that you ask to be objective and answer, not to control and manipulate and try to take over a person's process or a person's response. So anyway, that I did want to say that here at the beginning, because that is one thing, and it wasn't even written down as one of the questions here, but I do know that many of you have been talking about it. Okay. So let's see. So I wanted to talk about that, and the importance of discernment. I feel as if every single time we talk about discernment, because it's just getting more and more and more important. The next thing I think I would like to talk about is more things in terms of the 3i Atlas. This atlas is something that vibrates at a particular frequency. This you all know. If the earth had not been in the place where it is right now, if you were not ready to go to the next level of ascension, number one, the atlas would probably not come to this part of your universe. But number two, even if it was here, you wouldn't see it. You wouldn't know it. You wouldn't feel it, because it would be too big of a discrepancy between the vibration it was sending out and the vibration that people had in their own lives. So this is something that is important for you to consider, is that number one, that it's here and it's doing a lot of work, not only with all of the consciousness of the planet, but with the other planets and this whole part of the solar system. And I believe Brysentia or someone said last time they thought it would be around till about March or April. I still see that there is some great possibility of that, but it's like it peaked and then it's pulled away a little bit, and that's giving humanity time to integrate the energies and integrate everything that was sending out. And it is coming up towards another peak, and it feels like it is connected to the moon cycle. So that's one thing to think about when you're looking at, is it a full moon? Is it a new moon? Because that does, your astrology is that working with the planets, and the 3i is also working with the planets. And so if you're wondering, when is an important day? When is not an important day? Well, that is something for you to consider. Is it a new moon? Is it a full moon? Because that's going to amplify and intensify whatever may be coming in through the 3i Atlas. Now, there are many individuals on the 3i that, sorry, the phone is ringing. Anyway, where was I? Sorry. There are many individuals on the 3i that are there in a state of consciousness, and that they're still sending out their energy. They're still working with individuals, but many of them are kind of in the back seat, you could say. And then there are others that come forward and they're actively, consciously working, and then they may back off, and then others. So it's this sense of a woven energy that all of these different cultures that were the core essence of what created humanity and created other species in the universe. The humans are one of the ones that are a blend of multiple different species, and that's what makes you so unique. But it is also, there are certain cultures that are only that one culture, only that one species, and some of them are on the 3i. So as the Atlas is going past their planet, they're very forward and active as they're working to upgrade the people on their own planet. So here you are, you're each going through your thing. You keep hearing about your DNA. You keep wondering what's going to happen with DNA. Oh, and let me put to rest that question. We know that Shelley posted it on Facebook asking, what is your blood type? What does it represent? And that little chart that said, if you're this blood type, you're Pleiadian. If you're this blood type, you're Arcturian, and she had said, but she thinks there's something else. So let me talk about that for a little bit, because this goes right into this blend of what's happening from the individuals that are on the 3i. When they created the species that they called human, this was over many hundreds of years, if not maybe 1,000. No, it was not 1,000. It was over many hundreds of years as different people inhabited the earth plane to see where did they thrive? How did they work with this? And then as they worked with one another, they began to create that which was the human through DNA testing, DNA. And I could just hear all of you guys saying, oh my gosh, that's kind of the stuff they're doing now. And it's so bad right now. It's a difference when something is being done through a very high vibrational frequency with consent of everybody versus something with no consent that is of a low vibrational frequency to have an end result that is control and manipulation. So while some people may say I'm splitting hairs, that's up for you to decide. But the reason that I'm bringing this up is because that was prior to Lemuria or during the early parts of Lemuria. And then Lemuria was a time of living with these different species, of living hand in hand with one another and seeing how, certain aspects stayed strong, certain went away, others, it creates a life unto itself. So when you look at that chart that says this blood type means this means that, it's not fully accurate because people can be those many blood types and not be what is said in that chart. That chart is something that someone created and it feels as if it was maybe information that was given to them and it was a baseline, but it is not everything because there will be other blood types that may come out in the future. And the other thing to consider is that when you talk about thousands and thousands of years ago, that you had a time of blending and creating a whole species. Well, over years, it also continues to change. Nothing stays the same. There is that which is the foundation, which is what makes you human. But then those fine-tuned, the higher vibrational energies or aspects of the DNA is what makes you your soul. And it also represents that core planet or that core species from which you came. And this is said not as a way of judging one versus another, but as a way of understanding maybe some of those deeply intrinsically held feelings or energies or experiences that you have within you. So when you're looking at something like that, look at that and say, okay, here's my blood type. I could be these possibilities. And if it resonates, then great. But if it doesn't resonate, it's not that they're wrong, you're right, you're wrong, they're right. It's just not all of the information. And they will have more information as time goes on. And also, there is so much of what we talk about here is the consciousness. And the consciousness is that non-physical aspect of things. And you don't have a way of measuring consciousness. So some of that is when people have a way of being able to understand it or filter consciousness into their physicality, then they will have a better way of seeing it reflected around them. But there are so many people that as you move through the ascension process, there are so many people that will determine and develop and understand great changes that are going to be coming about. So it's still fairly new into your consciousness, even though it's ancient, and just know that things are going to change and things are going to evolve. Okay, now then, I know that I was going to start talking politics a little bit, and I know that there were these two questions right here that I'm going to kind of put together. And again, one of these is the one that, that Shelley's like, how many times are you going to ask this? I read where the original Trump died in a plane crash in the 90s and that this one is soon to be arrested. If so, why was he chosen at this time to do this job? He is not going to be arrested. He was arrested multiple different times and everything was completely disproved. Anything around Trump that says he's the bad guy, that says he's working both sides, that says he was part of the nefarious deeds is put out by the nefarious ones, and it's done intentionally to try to bring him down. So using your discernment from here forth, please understand that there is a lot of propaganda out there, and he is an ascended being. He is very connected to his universal self, and he consciously goes up onto the ships that are around here, and he works with the Andromedans, he works with the Pleiadians, he works with many different beings. And so he is a very ascended being. Now then, when people talk about, like, look at yourself. I mean, even Shelley, look at who she was back in the 80s and 90s and look at who she is now. Way more ascended than what she was before. So if somebody only knew her then and then they look at her now, they might think, wow, she's quite different than what she used to be. And you could say the exact same for yourself. Almost every single one of you are not the same exact person you were 30 years ago. So this stuff that they continue to put out, ignore it, please, and then just go back and use. And there are many people that have thousands and thousands of followers that are saying this. So it is up to you to discern what is your truth. And if you believe that he is changed out or that he's fake or that he's a clone or something like that, then that is your belief. It is up to you to choose what resonates with you. However, we are saying from our direct interaction with him and from our direct interaction with everything around, this is what we see. And then it says, I hear through others that Trump is probably not going to make it through the 4 years in office. Is this true? I don't know if this individual thinks he's going to be assassinated or if they think he's not going to make it because they're going to take him down. No, they're not going to take him down. They have tried and tried and tried. When they were even stronger, the nefarious ones, they tried to take him down and it did not work. So it's not going to work now either. So that's I feel like I'm getting kind of emphatic about that, and I apologize if it's too strong for some of you, but it is one of those things that just comes up every single time, and I'm like, it's still the same. Our answer is still the same as what it was before. Now, jumping from him, let me go over to the side. So we understand how so many of you are just waiting for the disclosure. So, let me just jump in here. I know that there were several things that went out recently that said, Comey was, and the person in New York, that they were let go. What is it called? Put aside. That's false. That's fake information. The types of crimes they did that were crimes against humanity were tried in military tribunals because they were crimes against humanity and they were crimes against the country in which they represented. So that cannot be something that is tried in your federal courts or in your state courts or in your, whatever those different courts are that you call them. So all of that was put out there as a means of trying to get people to believe that that is the truth, and that is not the truth. In point in case, I saw two pictures that we thought, well, that picture looks like it was about 20 years old. It's not even that would be the age that person was about 20 years ago. So this is what we're talking about with the AI and all the false information. It looks very real. And so a lot of people are probably believing it. And that is what keeps pushing and pushing and pushing to this end game. Another one that came up, Marjorie Taylor Greene, because she's in the state that Shelley lives in, she had said, hey, if it comes up, can you look at her? She is walking a fine line. She is, how do we say this? She appears to be very forthright, very upfront, very verbal, very proactive in everything that she puts out there. And but we see that she's kind of working in the background, and she's been doing stuff that is not necessarily as forthright as what she's put as what she appears to the people that interview her or whoever it is. We know that she put in that she's going to resign, and we're wondering, is she being forced to resign? And the question is yes. It feels like there's either information that someone found out or there's something going on, and it feels like she struck a deal and she's giving information, and she is resigning before they could manually take her out and put her into a tribunal. So that's what we think is going on with her. She has a lot, and this is true for so many people. There is a lot of very positive stuff she has done, and it just feels like there's something that's just not right there. Just like other people that we've talked about, there's a lot of positive we can see in them, but there's something that's just not quite right. So that's what it is with her, as it is with so many other people. I don't remember if Shelley put it down on here or not, but there was someone that had also asked about the financial system, because you will recall that we were talking about that last month when the government was shut down and all of the changes that were taking place. So I do hear that taxes are going to need to be paid next year because of finishing up 2025, that they are going to start off the year, that taxes are going to need to be done. But I'm just seeing, for whatever reason, not 100% sure where it's coming from, that maybe January, February, something like that, they're going to come in and say, nope, don't need to. There's something about the early part of January that is going to be a lot of information coming out and a lot of things happening. So the going forward, it looks like you still have taxes, but ultimately ultimately you will not have the taxes that you've been paying. Okay, so then another energy looking at the government and what's going on here. Oh, wait, what was that? Oh, there was something on here about, oh, here it is. The new quantum financial system. It was asking the new money system, the quantum financial system, is it actually running now in the background? Yes. We've said that for a very, very long time, for at least 3 years. It's been up and running in the background. And it looked very much so like during the time of the shutdown was when they were going to flip it over and have only the, and we heard yes, I'm just hearing yes. That is when they switched it over to the quantum financial system. And so wouldn't you think that they would have a big disclosure about that? And it feels as if they're trying to. There's something that went out there that BlackRock has declared bankruptcy. There's something about some of these other really huge corporations that have in the past have been a part of the control and manipulation. And so it feels as if they've not necessarily declared bankruptcy, but that's what they're going to call it, because their way of receiving money is not going to be the way in which they get money before, but they're going to switch over, just like so many of the banks. So many of the banks were part of the corruption. And we all know, as do you, that if every bank failed, if every corporation failed, obviously that's not good for anybody. So you are going to be hearing about banks and businesses either declaring bankruptcy or going through a transition. And that transition is what is going to be that moving over to the quantum system. However, it is also going to be the removal of the nefarious ones that are probably at the top, and a transition in the personnel into that which is more for the good of humanity as opposed to service to self. So yes, BlackRock is going through a transition, and but for all of those people that are concerned, thinking something's going to happen to the stock market or to something big, if it does, it's a temporary dip and it goes back up, because everything has already been shored up by the finances in the background. So another thing that people are asking about, and I believe it might be a question somewhere in here, is when are they going to start showing the tribunals? I don't have an answer for this, because they've already taken place for so many people, and they were going to start doing them as if they're real time. And great idea. Someone said, well, can you reach out to Trump and just ask him? Let's see if we can get something from his higher self or someone around him. Okay. Okay. As has been said, in terms of him being the master chess player, when we asked to see him, to talk to him, the image that we saw was him sitting behind a desk with these chess pieces on him, and the majority of the pieces were off the board. And so that's telling you they've taken out all of these pieces, and it only looked like 3 or 4 pieces still on the board. We did not see who was across from him. Our take on it is it's everybody else. But what I'm taking from this is that they're down to the last 2 or 3 moves, and then it will be complete. So we have every faith that he knows exactly what he's doing. And this is another time to affirm that all of these people that said his cabinet is corrupt, they're taking out the people in his cabinet. Not everybody is really high quality in there. We know that they've had problems in the past. However, they all are in a genuine place of moving forward for this. A couple of them, the nefarious ones, have been trying to, what's that word? What is it when you have something on them and you try to make them do what you want? Anyway, so there are a few of them that they're trying to bribe, that they're trying to hold stuff over them and force them to do. But here's the really good thing about this. In many of these instances, either Trump's gone to them first or they've gone to Trump, and he's maneuvering around so that, and this is some of these deals that are being made. So he's maneuvering around so that these people cannot be bribed any longer, and so that they can go ahead and do the job they need to be done. We're not saying this is everybody. We're not even saying it's, a dozen people. It feels like it's maybe 2 or 3. It's not very many. But we do blackmail. There you go. Thank you. We do think that that there have been certain things that were put out recently saying that, these people in his cabinet are coming down. And our take on that is, as we're looking at this, is that that's just another way to try to break up to break up any feeling of consistency, or to create unrest in the masses so that they will think that things are different than what they truly are. But I honestly believe that that everything is happening as it needs to. Okay, so the quantum financial, as I said, how many times have I said it's happening? So I don't know when it's going to come out. But in that image of the chessboard, 3, maybe 4 at the very, very most pieces were on the board. And of course, 1 is the opponent's. And so it feels as if just a couple of 3 more moves and it's going to be done. Whew. Okay, let's look at some of these other questions here. Is there anything we should be focusing on other than world peace, the December solstice, etc.? And what about the Epstein files? The Epstein files. The Epstein files have turned out to be a focal point that both sides are using to control and manipulate people. The Epstein files does have a lot of information, but they have all of that information and more in other files and in other investigations. And Epstein is just someone that they brought to the forefront, and they made a big deal about arresting him. And they thought, if we do this and give this little tidbit to humanity, then they're all going to go away. So that's how that whole file and that whole thing got started. Is there stuff that's in it that's important? Absolutely. Is it information that is going to at some point come out to the public? Yes, in bits and pieces. It does not feel as if the whole world is going to see the entire Epstein file. That will never happen. Most likely because it's got information and stuff in it that that is not important for people to know, and it might be bad for the security of the country. Let me just say this, because I just heard someone say, well, truly Epstein was working for the FBI or the CIA, and he's not a bad guy. Let me be clear. He's a bad guy. yes, at some point he did try to get out of things by saying he was going to work for them. But bottom line is he was very much a nefarious one, and he was very much a part of everything that was going on. So what can you do? The focus, wherever you put your focus is what you're going to manifest. If your focus is on there is chaos in the world that's not going to go away, you're going to see more chaos in your life. You're going to have chaos when you're driving. You're going to have chaos in your workplace. You're going to have chaos when you're at home. So focusing upon balance, focusing upon gratitude. The United States, it's a massive wave going through the United States at this now moment. And so when you focus upon love, when you focus upon peace, then you're going to see more peace in your life. You're going to see it reflected in everything that is around you. So this is even more important as we're stepping into this new phase of living on the earth plane. So what I was starting to say too at the very beginning, I understand that you're right now in this big, massive crash and intersection of all of this turbulence, but start focusing upon in the new energy, in the next phase of living, in the next way we're going to be, and that will help it to manifest much more quickly. Okay, I think I did those. Let's see here. Will Canada soon have a new government, or is it being shadowed right now? Let's see. There is a government running in the background, and there are some key players that are working for the that was another question. I'm just trying to find it. Maybe it was given to, oh, here it is. Is what happening now a pantomime? Is it all a show? You know, there's so many people that have said that, because when you look at it from one level, that is true. What's happening in Canada, what's happening in the UK, what's happening in Europe, in Australia, in the entire world, there is a certain degree of what is a show, and or there's a certain degree of a facade that is being put out there. And some of that is, and it is literally playing out, because it's showing people that when you manifest something evil, then this is what evil looks like. When you manifest that you want that, is there corruption in this government, then you're going to see more corruption. So there is a certain amount of that that's been going on. But what's happening is, in the background, many of these people have been taken out or have been transitioned. And so someone is just playing a part. And that's what I see with Canada. I see that Canada is going to step into much greater stability probably next year. I feel like whatever happens in the US is going to be in Canada, UK, Germany. Australia feels like it's a step or two behind, but there is so much that's happening. There's so much that's transitioning, and it's not that everyone is following the US, but what happens here gives them greater ability to speak out and to say things that that they might not say on their own. So there is an interrelationship, but in many governments around the world, there are people that have been very evil individuals, and they have just wreaked havoc throughout their countries. And I would have to say the vast majority of them have already been taken out, and whoever is there is playing a part. So there has to be certain triggers in each one of the countries that's going to push the people to speak out about that, because this is all about the conscious ascension, meaning that people have to learn to think, people have to learn to discern, just as I said with you. And so as that happens in every one of these countries, then that country is going to start to step forward, and you will see the transition. Okay. Oh, I think this is something that we missed up here. Will the new peace treaty between Russia and Ukraine be signed by both parties? And will peace finally come to Ukraine? We get a yes. It doesn't feel like this is going to be the final version, but it feels like there's some tweaking that is still going to be done. It feels like there's some changes that are going to take place, but it does feel like peace is here and like peace is going to be implemented. And so, yes, we do feel that that is something that is going to happen. Okay. Will any of the Democrats ever be held accountable for their crimes? The perception that you have right now is that no, they're not going to be held responsible. But yes, they are going to be held responsible. And it's not about Democrat or Republican. All of those people, whether it was in corporations, whether it was in the government, whether it was in school systems, people that have done things that were evil and nasty to other people are going to be taken out. That's the bottom line. It's not going to be tolerated again. There is so much that was tolerated for a very, very, very long time. And when it's tolerated at the top, people do take a lot of leeway from that and think it's tolerated in my business too. And some of this, what you're seeing is that they're starting at that business level. No, we're not going to tolerate that. Point in case, after Charlie Kirk was assassinated and people were saying stuff on their social media, like laughing and negativity, and they got fired from their job. Would that have happened 2 or 3 or 4 years ago? Most likely not. So you are seeing the benefit of all of this transition that's taking place. And so, yes, all of those that are negative and that are nefarious or service to self, as they want to call it, that will all be taken down. But it's not going to be it. And it's so hard for me to talk about this because when I look, I see that they've already been dealt with, as in dealt with 4, 5, 6 years ago, a long time ago. So that's a hard one to answer because I think they've already been dealt with, and I think that the country will hear about it. But the problem is they've got to get rid of that really negative AI, that last bit of the AI that's putting out these lies. They've got to get rid of that. I mean, the head is gone. The head is gone of the cabal and all of those people, and they have to get that cleaned out 100%. Because anything that they say when they try to show these tribunals that have taken place, it'll just be shredded and destroyed because of those people still being there. So they have got to be gone 100%. And then it's like, oh, by the way, here's this massive long list and these people have already been dealt with and this is what they did. So that's going to be the way a lot of that's going to come out. Okay. It seems insurance companies need to be completely overhauled. Yes, they do. The insurance companies, the banking systems, the investment companies, the stock market, any of these, the medical community, all of these different big, massive, massive corporations have to be overhauled, and they will be. Some of these insurance, you will have insurance for easily the next 10 to 15 to 20 years, but the time will come when you won't need insurance. The time will come when you won't need to have all of the medical things that you have going on right now. So, but I do see that there is a lot that is already starting to go on, especially in the background. That was one of the reasons for the long delay in the shutdown of the government in the U.S. So changes were already begun the last time that Trump was in office, and then that seemed to get buried during the 4 years he was gone, and that's coming up to the top again now, and there will be a great deal of discussion primarily in 2026. You will see many changes going on about that, and the changes will be that both medical and house and cars, all those different types of insurances you need, that there will be a change in premiums, and there will be, I mean, everybody, you could go out on the street and say, hey, do you think that the heads of these insurance companies are making millions of dollars a year? And everyone would say, absolutely. So it's one of those things that is common knowledge, but the average person just, yeah, they do. It's not fair. And they drop it. So this is another, just giving you another example of where the common people need to start saying, no, it's not right. And we're not going to put up with it. We're not going to do it. The problem is the lethargy in the collective consciousness, you know, in the average person. They've been exhausted. They have felt downtrodden. They have felt financially struggling. And so it's just very, very hard for them. And in addition to that, they've had that brainwashing of, you know, don't question, just go along with it. So it is going to change. You're at the end game, and these companies will be overhauled. Is there going to be a fake alien disclosure? The answer to that is no, there's not. We've heard what's happening is a pantomime. Is Tina Peters part of the show also to wake people up? Many of us are emailing and calling the White House and Colorado governor demanding her release or to be moved to a federal facility so that Trump can then pardon her. Not sure who Tina Peters is. I'll see if I can find her and find out what this is about. She's being used as a scapegoat for many different people in Colorado that have done nefarious things. And so we feel and she knows this, and she's talked to people about this. She's there as a symbol, and they're going to take down the people around her, and then she'll be released. She will get released. She will not spend a lot of time in prison. And so it feels as if she understands that she's being used to set up other individuals to bring them down. So she's just a part of that. Okay, I believe that was it for me. I've talked a very long time tonight, but I do thank you for this opportunity. Always be present in yourself. Always use your discernment. We are here. You're starting the next phase. You've spent a year already of just closing down past experiences and past karmic agreements you might have had, so that you can really be fully present in the new frequency and the new vibration. So that is here, and look towards the new beginning, and do not focus on the stuff that is being shown to you. Thank you for this opportunity. On Siluia. Greetings. It is I, Brysentia. Lot of intense energies this evening. Maybe that was what Albayon was picking up on, or maybe this is just what so much of the collective consciousness is feeling right now. But you know what? Let's everybody stop together, take in a deep breath, feel it inside of you, and then just breathe out. Let go tension, let go stress. Just take another breath in, and breathe out. My beloved friends, we are here at the end. We are here at the end. And I am striving to look towards what you're going to move into in the future. I can see and I can acknowledge all these other things that have been going on, and not only the importance for why things are happening, but when I'm looking at the consciousness of humanity, it truly looks like these massive beams of white light that are just shooting up from the earth. When I look at the collective consciousness of the planet, it's a particular vibration and energy, and it frequently looks like those what are they called? Radio waves or something, you know, that go that are a wave like that. And I can see that in the consciousness, all this up and down, that's the fluctuation between those that are at the very highest vibration and those that are low. And it's almost like a pantomime, like they'll reach up and then they'll go down. The others will go really high and then they'll come back to medium. So this wave formation of vibration is what's happening all the time on the planet, but it's really, really, really distinctive right now because of these major changes that are taking place. There have been many massive solar flares coming in from the sun. There have been amplification of energies coming in from the 3i Atlas, and it is all here as a means of breaking down the old paradigm, as you know, and moving fully into the higher vibrational frequency. So I have a couple of things I'd like to share. I don't know if it was the last time or 2 times ago, but I was talking about how, especially with the 3i Atlas here, it's bringing up a lot of your shadow self, and it's bringing up a lot of the old things that you may have cleared at one point or another in this lifetime. So if this is you, and if you've been on this pathway and you've been in the process of really doing your meditation, expanding your spirituality, connecting into your divinity, if you've been doing all of that and you keep seeming to have things come up over and over again, recognize that this is something that's now being triggered by your ego and not your spirituality. Because when something comes up for you and you look at it and think, I've already cleared that, and you just give it that energy of, I've cleared this, and you breathe it out and you let it go, and it disappears, then that was your ego thinking that you're still dealing with this and we need to bring it up again and make it a big deal for you again so that you can stay in that process. So with this higher vibrational frequency, if you think about the onion, every time you go to a new frequency, there are certain things that are going to come up again and again and again. But now you're at that place where you can look at it and just move on. You're not ignoring it because you're looking at it, you're acknowledging it, but you're not going to give it any energy. You're not going to go back and feed it again. You're not going to say, when am I ever going to get past this? You're going to see it and you're going to move on because it's over and done with. And once you've done that a time or two, then it won't even show up anymore in your energy field. And part of what's different about this, and the reason why I wanted to speak about this, is because it's so important that you learn that you're getting out of a particular pattern of living your life and you're moving into a new way of living your life. And in order to do that, you have to be in the higher vibrational frequency that's in the alignment with the higher vibrational frequency. So you still have your ego. That's your human self. That's your personality. That's the creation of you in this lifetime. And so for many of you, this is about really working with your ego, and it's about helping your ego to understand that it's here. The time is different. The time is now. And this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm living. So often when people do shadow work, I don't know why that word keeps coming up for me tonight. Not only is there something that's in your consciousness or your unconsciousness, but it can also be things that are associated with your ego. And your ego, you're going to have it until you transition. But you do need to kind of stretch the boundaries of your ego so that it can become accustomed and comfortable with the higher vibrational frequency. So if things just keep coming up again and again and again, just keep stretching that ego through love, through compassion, through integration. And before you know it, some of those things that were triggered or some of those things that bothered you will no longer come up in the way that they were before. The earth is regenerating. Gaia is regenerating. The trees have always been so much a part of it's almost like in some ways you could say the trees are the circulation of the earth. There are ley lines, just as you have ley lines in your body, there are ley lines of the earth, and many of the trees are interacting with the ley lines of the earth plane, and they're sending information back and forth. Many of you are realizing that some of the most ancient trees, those that were massive, like what you would say a mile across or something like that, and you think now they're just petrified stone, they were trees at one point. And some of these are actually softening. You think that when you look at them, what's coming to Shelley's mind is Devil's Tower out in Wyoming. And that was a tree that was cut down at one point, and it's petrified. But there is something inside of it that with the higher vibrational frequency, it's like it's coming back to life. There was a link or an alignment there that was associated with Saint Germain. And so that is awakening, and therefore it's bringing more of that Saint Germain energy in, which is of the violet flame, which is of love, which is of compassion, which is of transformation and transitioning. And so don't be surprised if it seems like people are suddenly talking about, hey, do you think this might have been a tree? Do you think that this is still a tree? Do you think that it's dead, or is it still alive? And the answer to that is everything is alive. So you may have to go deep inside to find the place that is alive, but that tree and others are actually portals where ships and energy go in and out. They move in and out of that at a very high vibrational frequency, so you're not seeing them with your everyday eyes. But this is something that you may sense or see or know as you move forward in the future. But so often people think, well, it's the water of the planet. And the water is very important. This planet has a lot of water on it, and so it is a key element to this planet. But it's the trees. It's the trees through their root structure that interconnect as you go within the planet, and they're the ones that that communicate and support one another. If there's a part of the planet that really needs a lot of help, then a lot of the energy from the trees will go there. So this is a massive form of communication, and the Aborigines are one of the ones, because I just saw them come walking in and saying, of course they are. And I see natives from many different parts of the planet that are coming in, and they work through the trees and through the root systems as a means of communicating with one another. So that's really amazing, and I love that it's something that more people are going to be talking about. So coming up on the solstice that's coming up about a month from now, isn't it? I don't think Shelley has said, but she is going to have the channel because of Christmas Eve and everything. She is going to have the channel on that Monday, I believe it is, which is the actual solstice. And we are definitely going to work with the 3-Eye Atlas at that time, and with all these energies that are coming in. So that is going to be a very, very pivotal day. Someone had a question in here, will December 11th be a day? Every single day, the 3-Eye Atlas is sending in energies and information and impulses that are anchoring everything that's going on. As Albayon said, there are times when when it's a little bit more distant from us, times when it's kind of right here in front of you. And all of that is working with particular patterns or frequencies that are helping humanity. And it is also what is helping to clear out the last of those really low vibrational or negative energies, so that they will no longer have the impact. But yeah, I think he mentioned, yes, he did, that if you look at the astrology and if you look at certain peak days, then the Atlas is definitely in alignment with the universe, because it's working with all the stars and the planets that are in this area. So there is a rhythm and a flow that is in association with your astrology. But some people are saying that this is going to be the blast that just takes out a lot of people. It is not. The 3-Eye Atlas is here to upgrade the DNA, and in doing so, it will expand consciousness, and it will give humanity an opportunity to reach up and create the changes that they need to have in their life. That is why it's here. That is exactly what it is doing. How that looks when you look at the various people, how that looks with those people that are still not very awake. It can look very different depending on where you are in this whole scale of things. But it is definitely having an impact on everyone. And as Albayon spoke at the very beginning about all of your friends and loved ones and family members that you just seem are like, oh my goodness, when are you going to get this? Well, they're getting it more than what you realize. And sometimes it's that integration that's going into them either through their sleep state or their prayers or meditation. Sometimes the reason that they seem so angry and so upset is because they're being told, look at the light. Integrate the light. The light is here for you. You are going through a change, and therefore it makes them mad and angry because chances are they don't want to change. They're exhausted. They're living their life, and so I see a lot of that really balancing out and really smoothing out during December, which is great. That would be really good. Well, we've been talking a long time. Let's jump into the questions. What is going to be the hardest thing to deal with as we turn the corner? And let's see. As we turn the corner, and what is the best way to deal with it? So that's a really hard question to answer because it depends on each person. If I look at the collective consciousness of the earth, if I look at society as a whole, the hardest thing for the vast majority of people is accepting responsibility for their lives, because so many people don't want to be responsible, don't want to accept responsibility. They want to just live, and say, oh, it's their fault, or I'm not the one making that decision. I'm just going along, and therefore not taking ownership of themselves. So for those people that are in that place, that's going to be a big change, is them waking up to that realization that, oh no, I am responsible for myself. I am the one that needs to make these choices. And I am going to do what I can, for this moving forward. For those people that are already awake and they already recognize, no, I am taking responsibility for my life, I already know this, then some of the changes that are coming up for you is that you may not be accustomed to all the influx of energy, because the more your senses are open, the more your energy is open. Then, of course, if you're around a big group of people, if you're at the mall, if you're even driving in traffic, even though everyone's in different cars, you're so sensitive to all of these different energies around you. So it may feel as if you're being slammed or inundated with energy. And so it can be hard for you to learn how to just let that go past you, not get caught up in it, and instead be present in your life and know that I'm just growing and expanding and I'm becoming more sensitive. Therefore, I'm sensing more things and I'm getting more information, but I'm only going to stick with that which resonates with me. I'm going to take everything in as a point of view, but I'm going to let go what doesn't support me and instead be in the vibrational frequency of what does support me. These are but two potentials. There are hundreds of different potentials. So it's about each of you recognizing which is going to be the best way for you to handle it. Okie dokie. I've been awake for quite some time and plan to ascend in my human form to the 5D Earth. However, I just don't understand from these Ascension posts about shedding layers in ego, dissolving past angers, irrations, and inner shadow work in this life, past lives, ancestral lives. How the heck do you do all that when you don't know? This is a little bit what I was talking about, is it not? So as an individual, and you've clearly stated, I'm living in the higher vibration. I'm here for the long haul. I'm here to be a part of that. So I would say to you, as you're living your life, do you have little niggling irritations that come up again and again? Do you get angry for no specific reason? Do you notice certain things and you get obsessive and your mind is going on and on and on and on about that? These are but a few of the things that could indicate that there's something going on in your unconsciousness, your shadow self, or whatever word you want to give to it, that is saying you need to become aware of why it's there, of why you're reacting that way, and what is important for you to learn from that. And then once once you've got that, then you can let it go and it will no longer bother you. However, if you are someone that, that you say, you know, well, everyone's talking about all this and you are not being, what's the word? Jerked around by your emotions and your different things like that. If you have perhaps healed any shadow work that you've had done, because everybody has shadow work, every single person has at least a certain amount of shadow work. And, but maybe you've already done it and maybe you've moved on and maybe you're already at that 5D level. And therefore, it's not something that is current and a trigger for you. So this is why you need to just decide for yourself, well, is it because I've already done the work or is it that I'm ignoring something? And you can know this by going into your meditation, by asking yourself, by opening up those energy fields and just really taking a good look at yourself and see if there's something that you've consistently stuffed down or if it's something that you've already done the work and therefore it's a non-issue for you. Oh goodness. What is the ascension clearing process? You know, I'm not one that believes it's important for everyone to do the same thing. If you feel as if you're not rising to a higher vibration, if you feel you're not moving forward in your life and you keep getting pulled back, then there are things that you need to heal and that you need to clear. So ascension clearing process is acknowledging whatever that is and just letting it go, clearing it out, cutting cords, acknowledging certain life experiences that you've had or that might come forward for you, and then healing them and letting them go. I mean, that's really the biggest way that I can speak about it. Other things that may pay attention to you is look at what you're reading, look at where your focus is on your daily basis. Do you get caught up in trauma drama, or do you find yourself in a space that's more higher vibration? So the clearing is whatever each individual needs it to be, but the ascension process is about moving through whatever it is that you need to move through as a human to become a more conscious, a more expanded vibration and frequency, and a more aware individual. And as Albayon said, someone that questions and thinks and discerns for themselves. Will there soon be a sudden stop in time that will be like seconds in which to cleanse our pineal gland? And some of us will be aware of this in a true history. No, there's not going to be anything like that. I believe I said last time, or someone said last time, that people's pineal glands are not as calcified as they're told they are. You've been told this by the nefarious ones for a very long time because they want you to think, oh, you can't ascend because your pineal gland is calcified. Certainly, some people may have that appearance of that because they haven't ever done the work. They haven't done the expanding consciousness. They haven't worked with their chakras and their energy bodies as a means of expanding the vibration. But all it takes is someone having that clear intention and running the energies up and down through their body, connecting chakra to chakra to chakra to chakra and letting it flow. And your pineal gland is going to open up. So, so that's something that that any one of you can do. But this kind of stop in time and a reset, I don't see it happening like that. I see that there are these gentle overlays, and that there's just going to be kind of like a separation in which that vast majority and of all of humanity is going to be in this big space of the higher lighter vibration, and then you'll be 100% in the new frequency and in the new space. Now, does an individual have an aha moment or have a time when this stuff comes up for them? Absolutely. And there may be a time when you feel like, oh my gosh, time just stood still for a second. Absolutely. But it's not going to be something that is for every single person at the same time worldwide. Will the Norwegian population have the opportunity to be treated in medbeds? Yes, absolutely. The medbeds are currently all around the planet, and the medbeds are. I'm looking. I'm looking. So here's the thing. In certain places, we're seeing that the medbeds are there. Some of them were purposely put in the tunnels, and they were waiting to be teleported onto the surface of the planet. So as I'm looking at them, I see all these medbeds around, and I'm like, well, are they down in the tunnels or are they on the surface? And there's a great many of them that are already on the surface and that are already being utilized. There's also different types of medbed healing, and it is available in Norway. It is available in just about every country around the planet. So it's about asking for it, looking around for it, find out who does it. That red light therapy, there's a lot of different therapies in which you have alternative therapy if you just do searches for that. All of this is the precursors to the type of med beds where you can sit there and regenerate limbs, and you can do the whole kabang, whatever. So right now, what's going on in the world is that you have the different steps that are leading up to that, and that is available right now in Norway. And then, of course, you can always do the meditations that take you into the med beds, and that is just as effective as anything else that you might do. Is the country of Denmark still a country? Yes, the country of Denmark is still a country. I believe what this individual might be asking is, has it been absorbed into like the EU, or is it, and just saying, I know this is frequently Albayon's thing, but I see the EU breaking up, and I see all of these countries actually going back into their own, like their own history. Each country has its own history that was that what do you call them? That was your culture. That were the things when you look back 100, 200 years ago. This is what was so well known for your people. This is what you brought to not only that part of the world, but to other parts of the world. And so I see, as all of this nefarious stuff is breaking down, each country or each culture or each society is going to go back into that which was intrinsically representative of that society, and it's going to get stronger for them. So yes, I think that that Denmark is still a country, and it will become even more so, or more evident in the future. I don't see this question here, but I remember, Shelley, reading a question that someone had said, are there still soldiers going into the dumbs and rescuing children? Not as many as there were before. There is still human trafficking going on, and they are still taking down the heads of the human trafficking. And yes, the human trafficking was very much instigated and funded by the nefarious ones, but it's almost as if they were two parallel different nefarious ones. And the ones that they're taking out that are associated with the central banking and with all the other things that came a part of that you guys tend to think of as the cabal, these guys are, yes, they were all a part of that, but they also had energies that were separate unto them. And when I look at this now, I see, yes, there is human trafficking still going on, but it is a fraction of what it was before. I don't see a lot of people still, they used to use the dumbs as a place to do nefarious deeds, and I do not see any of that going on anymore. However, I do see that some of these people are thinking that they can go through the dumbs as a means of transporting people to different places. So when they talk about rescuing from the dumbs, yes, it is taking place, but more so those that are being transported as opposed to the horrific things that were being done before. Okay. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and I don't know what's going on over here. So I'm going to go ahead and just say good night for tonight. I thank you, as always, for this opportunity. On this day of gratitude and appreciation, I appreciate that the planet Earth has done some massive, massive changes. And it could only happen. Gaia could not do it by herself. It is because of all of you. So I appreciate you doing everything that you've done. I appreciate you being here and being a part of this because we are all one and we are all in this together. Hallelujah. Greetings. It is I, Crystallia. Whew. The planet has taken a big nosedive the last couple of weeks since the last time we talked. And my take on it is that you've taken this nosedive because there's been so much that was happening, that was being held underneath, that was not being shared with the world. And so they've been digging deep and they've been uncovering a lot that was going on. And in uncovering things, of course, it brings out that nasty low vibrational energy. But I think, I want to say from my perspective that I see that the AI has already gone through a big transformation. But when I see the way it's being used in the future, it's very different than what it is right now. And one of the ways in which I saw the universe, like when Albayon was talking about it, it's like they came in with lasers and they used lasers to target different computer systems and different computers. And then it would kind of go through the system, burning up and taking out that which was the worst. It's not done. It's not complete. But I think that that's going to continue on. I am I've been working overtime, you could say, to try to help people because many people have gone into despair and have gone into and have been really struggling. And I believe that it is because of all this expression of nastiness. You've had several months or almost a year of really raising the vibration and learning to live what it is in that high vibration. And then in the last couple of weeks, they did these big, huge blasts of negativity. And it's like someone with a high frequency that's wide open and being in their space and you get blasted with all that negativity. It's almost literally physically painful to you. And so all of you that have been supporting so much of everybody else, you guys, it's like you've taken a hit over the last couple of weeks. So I remind you to just ground yourself, to go back into the space of raising your vibration, to be present with who you are, and let all of that help you, because it is going to. It is going to get better for you. Okay. Okay. Shelley was just messing with this computer. I don't know why those things came up on the picture. In the next few weeks, coming up to the solstice, I would encourage each one of you to kind of think about what it is that is most important to you. And what I mean by that is what is important to you for you to have in your life. What is important for you to express yourself when you're expressing yourself to others? How can you integrate love? How can you integrate gratitude? How can you integrate the many, many different things that are not only happening in your life, but are available to you? So love is always going to win, even if you think it is not. And I only use that word because it's something that you can understand. So be present in your life, be present and invite love to be a part of everything that's in and around you. Let yourself look at life, look at society, look at everything happening and feel that expression of love as you. This is you connecting to your soul. This is you connecting to the universe. There is so much that is transitioning in your unconsciousness that's coming forward now. Many, many of you will find yourself being drawn to say Lyra, being drawn to say Syria, being drawn to Pleiades, being drawn to these different planets that are out within your universe. And sometimes it's because that's where your soul is from, but frequently it's just that they're representing something that is really important for you to know right now. And so let yourself listen to things about that. Let yourself connect to that energy. Let yourself be present in your everyday life, experiencing these different things, because it's beautiful. It really is amazing the amount of information that you'll be able to download within you. It's amazing to see how each one of you are transforming into this being of love. It's always been there. And that individual that talked about ascension, this is what we're speaking about, clearing away the layers so that you just shine that big, beautiful light that is you into all that you do. And you shine it by simply being you. You don't have to fix anything. You have to just be present within yourself. So be strong at this time of collision. Be strong at this time where as you hear the diversity that's going on, be present within your heart and let love shine forth from you, because you are love. Ansaluia. Whew. Okay, well, that was good. I didn't realize, like, especially looking at Crystallia, and when she started talking about all of this turmoil and stuff, yeah, there has been a lot that's been going on the last few weeks. So Team Earth, I love it. Yes, we are Team Earth. Oh my goodness. But anyway, and that also kind of explains how, like, I mean, I have been really busy and I have had a lot of stuff going on, but usually I'm on the computer a lot more. I'm looking at a lot of stuff. I'm reading a lot of stuff, and I've been like, whatever. So anyway, hang in there, everyone. Shine your light, as Crystallia says, and just use your discernment. Thank you. And if this is your first time watching this, or if you want to subscribe and follow, please do. I appreciate it. And have a wonderful Thanksgiving if you are celebrating it. If not, then hopefully you can feel my love and gratitude coming out to you. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.